Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It is Monday, June 12th, 2023. This is going to be a pretty short video. I'm just putting it out in preparation for a webinar I'm planning on doing on Thursday. I'm unfortunately suffering a little bit from rebound COVID, so I want to keep this short, but I want to get it out to you. So those of you who are getting the updated webinar files, those of you who have subscribed for that, I'm going to have you delete your warehouse and chart views and reinstall the files. So let me take you through this process. First, I want to explain what I'm doing. I'm going through my views, warehouse views, and I'm standardizing pretty much on everything with the stock prospecting views. I've come to I did a video a while back explaining the factors of what really drives stock prices, and I've come to the conclusion that this standardized format will work best for helping us locate stocks. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm in a view right now. It's continuation indicator, but let me go up. I'm just going to go up to the top here under my daily prospecting scans. And this is end of day, and this is intraday. Now these are the factors I think are most important. The columns here, which represent Wyckoff indicators, VPA volume, VPA spread, and VPA close. These columns, as you know, I'm really emphasizing the days since the 3 crossed the 6, and that is up and down, and the days since the volume point of control crossed up and down, 0 being the crossover days. These columns are very important because no stock can gain momentum either up or down without the 3 crossing the 6, and when you combine that with the volume point of control, that is an added bonus. Let's just take a look at a chart here. Here is Super Micro Computers, which has been on a big run. First of all, let me go all the way across here. This 30 days ago, the 3 crossed the 6. There's been a pullback on the VPOC, and now it's positive again. The relative strength rank is 99. The Kirkpatrick relative strength is 99. It's outperformed the S&P by 17% over 5 days and by 22% over 10 days. Here's the last close. It's an expensive stock. And here's the price change as of Friday from the for 1 day in the beginning of the week, closed at 35% of its range, and so on. Industry sector, very important, and the industry percentage price change. And then over here on the VPA signals, which are very important to, I'm sorry, this is the box stock. This tells me if there was a VPA signal, and it tells me the condition. Only stocks having a VPA signal this day are going to show up in the column. So let's go back to this, sort on raw combo, go to the top. Here's Super Micro Computer. Let's see what this looks like. Before I bring it up, I can see there was a transfer of ownership, which means that there was probably some selling going into the close. And when I combine this with the 35.94% of the daily range, it's in the lower, nearly the lower 1/3 of its range. But I'll bring it up anyway. This also, the mid also confirms that it probably pulled back. So let's take a look at it. Okay, and here is exactly what I can see up here in the warehouse view. But what's important, did I get the right? Yes, Super Micro, I got it. 30 days ago, the 3 crossed the 6, and this is what I'm saying about no stock being able to have a substantial move before the 3 crosses the 6. And if you look down here, it actually crossed here. I'll bring this up full screen. Right here. before the big gap up. And notice the pocket pivot or volume confirming pocket pivots here. This was the big move, and then it settled down. The 3 stayed above the 6 all this time. But these big runs have to be confirmed, or they just don't happen without the 3 crossing the 6. And then you see as other moving averages are crossed too, this is a confirmation down here. So that's why those columns are so important. If you want to find these stocks, this is how you find them. Now I'm going to scroll back here, and let's just take a look at this before the big gap up. Okay, this is the way it looked right here. It had already moved up from a test and a confirmation of that test with an effort to rise, and then had 2 spinning tops, and then the earnings probably came out the next day and it took off. But this is very important, the VPA flags and also the crossovers. So that is why I am standardizing to this view. I don't have them all done yet, but I have most of them, or a lot of them done, and over the coming week or so I will have it complete with all of the views. Now I'm doing this like I said when the market's open. So let's just go in here to the designer, and I'm going to click on industries, and I'm going to rebuild these industries, and then I'm going to run the user smart groups. Okay, and then I'll just run the user smart groups or rebuild the user smart groups. Takes about 30 seconds normally. Okay, they've been rebuilt. Now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on C. These are stocks and groups moving up. Intraday demand. These are $15 and above. And I'm sorted on raw combo, and you can see instantly what is happening today. These are the groups that are moving up. Cruise lines have been strong, and if you look at any cruise line stock, it's going to show you exactly what I showed you. The crossover of the 3 and the 6, and also the VPOC. I'll just bring Norwegian Cruise up here in a second. But if we look across here, we can see that on Friday, volume was less than average. Spread was below average, but the close was at the mid. The industry price change over the past 5 days is 14.83%. So these groups have been moving. This stock crossed over 17 days ago, both with the 3 and 6 and the volume point of control. The relative strength ranks are both above 90. 1 day change today is 7.25%, trading at 2/3 of its range, and I'll bring this up in a second. There was no VPA signal Friday or the day before, but let's bring the chart up. Take a look at it. Going back to the 3 crossing the 6, which is this column right here, it would have shown up as a 0 that day. Look at the characteristics. There is a, well, I'll click right on this and you can read it. I'll make this full screen. Strength seen returning after a downtrend. High volume up bar closing on the high indicates strength. Effort to rise. All of these signaled on this day right here. There is also a volume pocket pivot as the 3 crossed the 6, and the volume point of control also turned positive. That was just the beginning of this run. Yes, it moved up, and then there's some short-term profit taking, but this low was never taken out if a stop was in place, and notice how the group started moving up. So I've repeated this many times, and I'm going to continue to repeat it. Nothing can happen either up or down without the 3 crossing the 6. And if you add in the VPA flags, that is just more reassurance that a potential move is on the way. And then when the groups start moving up, then they move together. Okay, let's look at one more. Here's AMAT. This happened 11 days ago and there was a pullback. How do I know there was a pullback? Because the VPOC turned positive 2 days ago. So if I bring this up, AMAT, here's your pullback right here, went sideways, and then there is the volume point of control turning positive again, but notice the 3 stayed positive from this point on. This was never challenged on the low. Sometimes we just have to have patience. Notice that the group is rising. This chart is really invaluable if you look at all of this. And these things that I'm showing you, the relative strength and the VPA flags, there was a no supply yesterday. I'm using these columns to get a quick read on what happened the past couple of days, if there are VPA flags or not. So it's just more confirmation. A lot of information in these warehouse views, and they're available for you now, the ones that I have done. So I want you to go ahead and install them. I'll be discussing this a lot more in my Thursday webinar, so make sure you attend or at least watch the video. These factors really come into play. Okay, now, how do you do this? If you're new to the files, just bring the warehouse up. I shouldn't have closed it, but I did. Go to the Choose Create Warehouse Views. If you're getting the webinar series early, every Insider Club member will get the webinar series eventually, but those who paid are getting it early as I build these. And I just want you to delete this. And I haven't changed the charts, but it doesn't hurt to delete them. So let's just bring up that chart again. And do the same thing. Go to the Choose Create View. Webinar series charts, delete them. And then you already have the link to the charts, but if you don't, I will resend it. I'm going to click on Install the add-on. And it's a webinar series files. I'll open these. And then you just install them. Just takes less than a minute. Okay, and then when I reopen this, you can see that I have the webinar series right in here. And I'll just go back to, I'll go to this one. And you can see that you're going to get this standardized view across most of these files. Like I said, I still have some to change down in this part of my files, but ultimately they're all going to be changed just to standardize and make it simpler for prospecting and easier to locate stocks on the move. Thanks for listening. Sorry for the short video, but I'm still recovering, and I should be fine by Thursday to do a full webinar.